YouTube, Captain Jim here. Hey, I wanted to do a recorded feed, not a live feed, so my brain didn't get all twisted up every time people ask me questions. I have some things I want to go over, and pretty important stuff. So this is the end, or very near the end. I'm gonna wrap up tomorrow. For the week, I believe I might run on Saturday. I'll have to check and see. So, is CDL Class A big rig truck driving for you? That is a good question. I know RVT did a video on it yesterday. I want to elaborate a little more from someone who is in his first week, wrapping up the first week. Okay. So it started out, I had to wait for my truck until midday on Monday. Somebody else had it by accident, so they brought it back. So I took off. The very first thing I did was headed west to the mountains of North Carolina and then into the mountains of Tennessee. So I went through like the Maggie Valley, blah, 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 and then crossed into like Gatlinburg and wherever Dollywood is, over that way, and kept going. I got past all them, and the mountains started to get a little bit smaller. I found a mom and pop place to pull over and sleep. I was exhausted. I had a lot of time left on my drive clock. I was wiped out. I mean, literally my day started at 5:30 in the morning, and now it's like 7:30 at night, and I was just flat out whooped. So I found this mom and pop truck stop, pulled in there, stopped, went in, got my Gatorade, came back out to the truck, and doggone, I didn't sleep worth a hoot, man. I really didn't. As exhausted as I was, I didn't sleep worth a hoot. And that's probably because I only thought I was exhausted. And I'm not going to lean back too much. The captain's doing this video in his underwear. You know why? He can. Okay? So, I just got out of the shower. Notice the cleanliness. This is the first shower I have had since Sunday night. I got up Monday and took off straight for the yard bright and early. Okay? So it's now Thursday night. This is the first shower I've had since Sunday night. Okay? So, that should be a clue to you. Is trucking for you? Let me go on. So the next morning was Tuesday morning. I had about an hour and a half to get to my next location, which was a pickup. I had to do a live load at a rock plant. By then, the temperature had really dropped. It was raining pretty hard. Back into the dock fine. No problems at all there. Got loaded in a grand total of about 2 minutes. I almost fell over. But I guess, what they were putting in there was so doggone heavy, it only took a few minutes of them, or a few of them to make up the weight. So this is in, I want to say, Middle Tennessee, somewhere closer to Chattanooga than to Knoxville. So somewhere in the middle of the state. So they load me with 43,000 pounds, okay? And I'm not near any highways. Far from any highways. I've got 43,000 pounds in the trailer, which basically means I'm weighing somewhere around 80, 5-ish thousand pounds total. New truck, haven't really driven it, this is new to me. So my load delivered on the east side of Atlanta, and I had to be there at a certain time. I cannot remember what time it was, but in theory I had plenty of time to get there. I should have had 2 or 3 extra hours to spare. So I take off out of there. I got my bill of ladling. I've got my, it's signed. Everything's ready to go. Everything's in Qualcomm. Pulled up Google Maps, and I found a great new app. It's a trucking app. I can't remember what it's called. It begins with a W. I will look it up and give it to you at a later date. I promise. It's an awesome app. Because the last thing you want to do, folks, is find yourself somewhere you shouldn't be. It's illegal for you to be there. And even worse, you can't get turned around. You pigeonhole yourself. Not good. So download this app. It's free. You don't have to spend $500 on some, fancy dancy Rand McNally map or anything. This thing's awesome. I'm driving down the road today, not to get too sidetracked. I'm driving down the road today. It's my first day using the app. It said, warning, car off on the shoulder ahead. And they still had their flashing lights on. Like, the police hadn't even gotten there yet. And I'm like, man, how do you know this so up to date? Anyway, I take off out of there, and the roads are up, down, curve, down, curve, down, curve. You know the roads I'm talking about here, that kind of have like the streams running along the side of them, it just, man, I had my engine brake on the entire time till I got out of those mountains. It took a long time to get out of those mountains. I'm doing anywhere, the speed limit was anything from 30 to 50. There were a lot of little towns I had to go through, but even in the 50 mile an hour zones, no way, not happening. I don't care if my trailer was empty, I wouldn't have been doing that kind of weight or that kind of speed, because man, I could just picture that trailer coming around. Oh man, I don't even want to think about it. Is trucking for you? So I get to the ATL at 4 o'clock on the west side, and I delivered half an hour to the east of Atlanta. Okay? 3 hours later, I got through Atlanta. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. There was no way around it. I was on the fastest route according to everything, Google Maps and everything. It was just a grin and bear it deal. Again, engine brake on. I had more people cut in front of me and cut me off, and man, thank God for that engine brake, because when you've got 43,000 pounds in the back and you get down hard on those brakes, it's almost like nobody's home. Really. That engine brake is your lifeline. So to make a long story short, I got that unloaded, and by the time it was unloaded, in order for me to get to a truck stop, it wasn't going to happen. So I called dispatch. I said, what do I do? They said, you got to get to a safe haven. You can't stay where you are. Get to a safe haven. Okay? So I did. And I overshot my 14-hour clock by 38 minutes. What happened was, they told me go to this one specific pilot. So I went to the pilot, it was jammed as usual at 6 o'clock at night. It took me 10 minutes to get into the Pilot and figure out that there was no parking, and another 20 to get out. And I'm watching my clock tick, 7, 6, and by then I'm trying to get out. I couldn't get out. And another guy goes like this, come on, follow me. I'm like, okay, let's go, bro. So I followed him, and we went to an abandoned warehouse parking lot, and there were already about 10 or 15 trucks in there, so we snuggled up in there for the night. Night 2, no showers available, okay? Yesterday, I had a hot load in the morning. Yesterday was Wednesday, right? Yeah, I had a hot load in the morning. I had to go to, let's see. I had to take my empty, drive about an hour and a half. It was drop and hook. I had to drop my empty, pick up a loaded trailer, and it came through on Qualcomm, do not stop, go directly to the shipper, or receiver, go directly to the receiver. I'm like, oh my God, I told you yesterday I needed DEF fluid. Well, I had to get DEF. That wasn't an option. So I did make a 5-minute stop, and I grabbed a cup of coffee while I was at it. But so I made a beeline for that shipper, and it was run all day. Got there. I had picked up a nail somewhere. I had a bad tire. So I got to a Pilot at about 4:30 in the afternoon yesterday. And they were so backed up with so many road calls and everything. I had 3 hours left on my drive clock. No, my 14-hour had 3 hours left on it. My drive didn't have that much at all. So I went in, I talked to the guys. It was like talking to a wall. Can you get me done and out of here? Well, we can, eventually. Well, what's eventually mean? Can you give me an estimate? Well, probably 2-3 hours, we can get to it. Only take half an hour or so. All right. Can I park in your bay overnight? Because if I don't get parked right now, by the time you guys get done with my trailer and getting that tire fixed, there's going to be no place to park here, and I'm going to be out of clock. Well, we need that bay, to do work on other things. Well, my name is next in line to get work done. Well, yeah, but we got some road service calls that are coming in. Jeez Louise! All right. Do you think you can do me first thing in the morning? Say 7 o'clock. Yeah, I think we can do that. You'll be first in. All right. So, I got to bed at a reasonable hour last night. Slept like a baby, too, man. Slept like a baby. And got up this morning, 6 o'clock, walked into the Love's, got a coffee, and came back out and walked into the shop. Well, it'll be a few minutes, but why don't you pull into that bay right there, over there, and we'll get to you momentarily. There's one guy there, okay? One. Oh, and a guy training, doing some computer videos. 3 hours later, at 10 o'clock, I was cleared to go. Your tire's ready, sir. You're all set to go. All we gotta do is get your payment arrangements worked out. I said, okay, well, I got to, to make a long story short, that took another half an hour because I can't use my EFS card to get a doggone tire done. It couldn't be that simple. I had to call in and go through maintenance, and they had to approve it, and then the tire shop guy had to call, and it was whatever. So you want to be a truck driver? All right. So today, I finally get my truck at 10 o'clock. I'm good and late now. It's 10 o'clock. Okay? Now remember, I had to start that truck and put it in gear and move it a little bit before 7 o'clock this morning. So the 14-hour clock is ticking. Okay? I stayed off my drive clock, but my 14 was ticking. So, I had to go to a very large furniture distributor, drop an empty trailer that I had, pick up a loaded trailer, and take it to the ATL. And I mean downtown Atlanta, not one of the burbs, 10, 15 miles outside. I'm talking downtown on 16th Street, folks. Oh, Lord. Okay, it's Thursday night. Thursday night football. Guess who's playing tonight? The Falcons versus the Saints in Atlanta. I finally got there, dropped it, backed it into the door, picked up my empty. When I picked up my empty, I looked down at my drive clock. I had 19 minutes left. Then I had to take a 30. Did not have a choice. There is no parking for tractor trailers anywhere on this property. Okay? So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make my own parking spot. So I did a little thinking, and I went and found my own spot. And crossed my fingers that no other 18-wheelers were trying to come through there, because I would have had to start my engine and pull forward about 10 feet, which would have reactivated my drive clock and annihilated my 30. So, anyway, y'all looking to get into the business, you don't understand that yet, but you will. Trust me, you will. So, I did that. I got real lucky. And my next dispatch isn't until tomorrow morning. Okay? Oh, by the way, last night when I stayed at the Pilot, I could have gotten a shower there. I could have. There was a huge wait. But more importantly, I didn't have $15. Okay? This is my first week. Hopefully my first real paycheck will be coming next week. The little training paychecks don't really go too far, especially when you got bills to pay at home. So the $15 shower at Love's was not an option. So anyway, I'm like, you know what? I don't have another one till tomorrow, and I'm only 25, 30 minutes from our Atlanta yard. I'm like, I'm going to the yard, man. I've got to get a shower. I can't stand myself. I can't take it anymore. So you want to be a trucker. Get ready. Those times are coming. So here is the nuts and bolts of everything. And those of you who are looking to get into the business, I want to tell this to you very clearly, very straightforward, very honest, and very candidly. Number one, if you can't think for yourself and make decisions on the fly, because you are going to have to make numerous decisions every day, whether it be to stop and get something to eat. Where do I, how far can I go before I've got a break? It sounds so simple, but all day long, your brain's churning. Not all day long. Okay, so if you're on a highway, which for me has been rare, if you're on a highway for 2 or 3 hours, you don't really have to think about it. You turn on the radio and just, but you're always thinking subconsciously, and you have to. The thought process cannot stop. You have to plan every single maneuver of your day. Okay? You're going to have deadlines. You're going to have very difficult places to get into and out of. And believe me when I tell you, if these shippers would only invest a few bucks into some really big signs, shipping and receivers, really big signs saying, truck, enter here, life would be a lot less complicated. It really would. They don't always do that. So then you make a wrong turn and you get yourself into a place you don't want to be, where it's very difficult to turn around. You've got to slide your tandems all the way forward. I know you don't know what that means yet, but that is the pivot point of where your trailer's going to turn. So you move your rear wheels as far forward as they'll go, and that way you can make a tighter turn. For that matter, Love's Pilot, TA, they can invest a little more in some signs too. Because I went in and out, it was all sun faded, you couldn't even read it. I went in and out entrance today. And needless to say, there were some unhappy truckers who had to get out of the way and make room so I could get through, and then I had to wait, so one could get through and I could move forward 20 more feet. And so you have to be able to think. You have to be able to keep the gears moving in your head and not stop. You have to be a responsible person. You are driving a company truck worth over $100,000. Only the Lord knows what's in the back. Usually you won't. Okay? Usually you won't. It won't tell you exactly what's in there, just the weight. You're responsible for all that. More importantly, you're responsible for the lives of others and yourself. Because, trust me when I tell you, stopping one of these beasts is not an easy task. So, I had someone pull out in front of me today, and I went down on those brakes so hard, I'm sure the trailer locked up. It had to have. It had to have. It didn't swing, because I took a quick glance in the rear mirror after the ding-dong that cut me off got into the next... Shot across 3 lanes right in front of me. Unbelievable. It's something you got to think of. So, and you have to plan your money. Plan to budget for food. Budget for showers. I don't know if whatever company you're looking at has terminals all over the place and you can shower in their terminals. I don't know. My company, G&P Trucking, does. You could shower in most all their terminals. There's a lot of planning involved. And I think the thing that hit me harder than anything else is the physical aspect of doing this job. You're like, oh, I'll plant my butt in that seat and ride that doggy till she burns. And I'm like, no, that's not quite how it works, man. You're going to hop in and out of this truck, your truck, You might get real lucky and only do it 10, 15, 20 times a day. Odds are you're going to be doing it 30, 40, 50 times a day. And getting in and out, man, it gets old, okay? My steering wheel pulls to the right, okay? It's got a little bit of a pull. It can use an alignment. And one of these days when I'm off doing my 34-hour reset, hopefully I'll be able to get an alignment done on it. My arms hurt. I mean, they hurt. This wrist and hand, absolutely killing me. I wake up in the morning and pop 3 Advil and don't stop taking Advil all day. You have to be able to hold a lot of people aren't used to this. You got to be able to keep your foot on that accelerator pedal for hours and hours and hours on end and not be able to set your cruise control. Like when I was going through the mountains, there was no cruise control happening, brother, sister, whoever you are. That was not happening. So, it's a very physical job. You gotta crank all your trailer, the trailer legs up and down. Sometimes your trailer will be too high and it's got, 35,000 pounds in it. And you go to back under it and you're like, oh man, you're that far above the skid plate. So you got to go there and crank it down. Easier said than done, folks. When she's got a lot of weight in her, especially in the front, and that's where they put all the weight, man, I'll tell you, they could be testy and difficult, to say the very least. You have to be diligent with your pre-trips and post-trips. I check out everything every morning, every inch of the way, and every time I drop a trailer and pick up another trailer, I check that trailer thoroughly. And mental, you have to be able to be okay alone. You have to rely on yourself. If you are somebody who needs to have somebody else with you, not a job for you. If you're scared to be alone, or you get nervous being alone, or, let's say you're, 6 or 8 hours from home. That's if you're doing regional. If you're doing long haul, you could be days from home. You've got to be comfortable with you, because you are the only one you can rely on. There isn't a whole lot of help. There really isn't. You can call dispatch and ask them for all the help you want. Ultimately, your eyes are on the ground. You need to figure it out. Because dispatch isn't there. They're a long ways away. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia right now. My home terminal is Columbia, South Carolina. That is where all our dispatchers are. Okay? I think with the exception of one, but that's not... Anyway, all the dispatchers are in Columbia. There aren't any in Atlanta. Okay? So, if you call them up, and like I did the other night, I'm like, oh my God, I'm running out of time. Help. Yeah, I mean... They can only do just so much. You've got to be able to figure it out. So you've got mental, physical, and you have to be smart. And other than that, that's kind of the downside. The upside, if you're good at if you're mentally strong, you can handle the physical side of it. Yeah, you're going to have to strap down loads and bar down loads and stuff like that every now and then, not every day. I've only had to bar one down and I haven't had to strap any, which is a really good thing because I don't have any straps. But of course you can get them at a travel center for a very premium price, like everything else. If you're comfortable with that, you're comfortable with, just every aspect of the job. No one's going to be, if you can do it all, no one's going to be in your ear. You're going to go, you're going to, into your ELD. We use Qualcomm. So I'll go to Qualcomm, send in a message. A few minutes later, blip, 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 here's your next load assignment. Head there. Okay, no problem. You don't even have to say okay. You just go. So nobody's in your ear. Nobody's looking over your shoulder. Actually, they're looking over your shoulder. You just don't have to see them looking over your shoulder. They're not in your face. They're just making sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And if you do what you're supposed to do, they're going to stop looking over your shoulder. It's how you conduct yourself and handle yourself. You are a representative of your company. Politeness is huge. Huge, and it goes a long way. Be nice to your shippers. Be nice to your receivers. If you've got an extra Pepsi or something in your refrigerator or cooler or whatever you have, and you see there's a long line of people waiting to get unloaded, hey man, offer them one. Hey bud, a little warm out today, man. Can I get you a Pepsi? Or water? I got plenty of both. Man, little things like that will get you unloaded or loaded, whatever it is. Just dumb little things. It could be challenging, but it's rewarding. The money's good. I'm not jamming the hours.